We come around, we come back, we come down. Yeah, so there's one breakdown that I want to do between these two, and then one coming down. So 2 breakdown drawings there. So we're starting to get that feel. We're starting to get that. Adding these extra drawings are starting to give us that nice flow in there. So let's now talk about the breakdown between hair and hair. So let's go in and add a... It's like this one is a breakdown. This isn't a key, but it's a necessary breakdown because as we're doing follow through and overlap, we do want to keep an eye on that flag so that our follow through and our overlap works, because it is kind of dragging behind the character. So now this drawing might need a lot of work. We want to think about the arcing of that flag.
So, are you going to join the library?
So that flag is essentially going to be arcing this way, and the stick is hair and hair. So we have we want to think about that. It's going to be coming around in accordance to that. So I want to think, well, do I want that, or maybe I introduce it coming up here so I can bring it down like that. So I bring it, you see, I've gone outside the arc here. You're not understanding because I'm not explaining. Let me explain. Right, I've gone outside the arc and in. You can see that this rough is ending here. This whole stick is ending here. I want to keep it inside the arc. Okay, so I'm bringing it like this part of the key is hair, right? The stick is ending there, right? So I want to think about the rear end of that stick arcing. I want to bring that inside the arc. So we're going to play with that whole perspective of that stick, and we're going to have to really cheat here. Okay, so I'm going to, I don't want to keep this, I don't want to go outside the arc. I want to keep this inside, nice and kind of tiny, because I want to have that perspective effect, which can't really happen the way I've got it, you know. So, but that's the beauty of hand-drawn animation. We cheat it. So now I'm going to think about, okay, well, this thing is going to be going this way, like this. So we're going to have a look at that. Yeah, that stick is working to me now. So that's coming along there like that. So that comes here like that. Now I want to think about the positioning of the hands, and I want to think about, okay, where we were thinking in terms of the feet being on halves, okay, but my head is all the way up there in a kind of like thirds, almost favoring manner. So let me just rough in this body here, because I'm not sold on the body that I have. I'm just going to rough it in and see what's happening, because it was a very, very rough body, and it could hinder. This is what happens. Don't religiously stick to your straight ahead work. Just get an idea of it and then examine it. Examine the arcs, because it could kill your animation. Okay? Because it might, when you look at it like this, it might look all lovely and all that. That's why there's so much animation out there, which some people, inexperienced people, put on YouTube, teaching animation or whatever. They just show rough, scribbly stuff, and you look at it flowing and you go, wow, wow, and all that. But when ask them to lock it down, and it'll just be exposed completely for what it is. Okay, you need to, because they're sticking too religiously to their roughs. I did that drawing and that's the way it worked nice there, so it's going to work in this situation. No, it isn't. It isn't. It could spoil that situation. So we need to look and examine what's happening and revise in order to bring it into a new situation. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've kind of roughed in a little bit of what's there like that, and I'm going to now look at what's going on. And that concludes our lecture. It's a 4-part lecture on overlapping action and follow through. And if you'd like to see the animation one more time, this is the animation that you have been learning how to do. So we have done the action of follow through and overlapping action by starting out. So that is the actual animation playing here for you now. But the whole process, just to recap, is we started out with a straight ahead, using straight ahead animation, the principle of straight ahead animation. We started out with a very rough scribble where we worked out a nice flow where we could get a nice drag and follow through and overlap. But there was some errors in this straight ahead. It flowed nicely, but as we wanted to make sense of it, we had to switch over to pose, where we first worked on our extreme poses, which are now hidden in the sequence. But we started with extreme poses, and then we broke it down and did key poses. Using this, but not religiously, okay? Improving and building on this. Then after that, we kind of tweaked the follow through and overlap of the flag as we settled in for a stop, and we then timed out our animation and proceeded to break it down. And all that remains is the very simple process of in-betweening, which you would have learned how to do in the basics archive and some of the earlier lessons in this intermediate album, like on Squash and Stretch and all that. So there we have it. That is the AMB Real Animator Training lecture series concluded on follow through and overlapping action.
So AMB is the greatest archive anyone could ever ask for.
You know, of all the books I've read, of all the other online tutorials I've seen, this was the missing key.
Every video is like packed with this information that I would never be able to get anywhere else. So I would say this is the greatest resource for learning animation.
For me, AMB Animation Library is hands down the best animation learning resource that I've seen. I've tried all the tutorials, I've gotten all the books. I've never been able to really grow until I found AMB.
And it's incredible. I've only just begun it, but I definitely am getting more from that than I did from my 1.5 years of college.
I've noticed definitely that my animation has improved a lot, and it's more alive than ever.